Hey everyone, hope you are doing well. Today, another album. We're going to do something a little different. We're not looking at ska, we're not looking at punk, but we're looking at something really awesome, really cool that I think you should hear about. This is the album Brass from Brass Camel. There we go. Awesome. Get the full album cover in there. Brass Camel from Vancouver. This is their 2022 release. There's the band there. I think that image says it all. You got the mini Moog at the bottom there, band with all their instruments. Uh, they are super awesome. They are, yeah. So from Vancouver, this album was written, recorded, put out in 2022. The band on this release is listed as a three-piece. They have since expanded into a five-piece. But on the record, we have Daniel Svensson, Curtis Arsenault, and Wyatt Gilson. Hopefully that's how you pronounce their names. Could be Arsenault, could be Svensson, but I think we got it, and we're going to go for that. The band does have prior music out under Daniel James's Brass Camel. You can find that online as well. Same with this album. This is a physical release, but it's also on Spotify. It's on Bandcamp. You can find it elsewhere as well. So broadly speaking, what does the band sound like? So I think again, look at what you have on the back. Think kind of the heavier moments of bands like Styx, the proggier moments of groups like Styx, maybe a little bit of Kansas. To my ears, certainly a lot of sort of Hemispheres era and Permanent Waves era Rush. Maybe a sprinkling of groups like Queen. But I think broadly speaking, take kind of the Styx and the Rush comparison, slam that together with something like Parliament, or maybe even something like another Vancouver group, Five Alarm Funk. So you have that kind of funk rock element in there. You get a good idea of what the band sounds like. It's really, really pleasing. It's really, really unique. And this is a fantastic sounding album as well. I think the producers, which is listed as the band, Mix Ben Kaplan, it just sounds great. The louder you play it, the better it sounds, which is fantastic. So what do you got on here? You have First Contact, which is the first song. It's sort of an instrumental introduction to the album in a really sort of sci-fi sounding prog way. Then you've got Dingers in the Back. I've got the Fox Pressure Cooker. Those are probably the most Parliament comparison funk rock kind of straight ahead tracks on the album. Doesn't mean they're bad at all. If you're into that sort of sound, the first half of this album, especially if you're listening on vinyl with that separation, the first half is what you're going to be into, but they're all fantastic, especially Pressure Cooker. It's got some elements in the guitar work that does remind me a bit of David Gilmour's work on Animals, just a lot of the tone and tonalities and progressions. It's really, really cool. But they're really fun. Dingers in the Back, and I've got the Fox, just really fun, upbeat ways to start an album. Side one finishes off with King for a Day. That could be where some more of that Styx and Queen comparison comes in. It's very theatrical. There's a lot of kind of character work in the vocal delivery. And that kind of is a really nice segue. It brings in that sort of upbeat, funky rock back into that prog sphere, back into the prog realm. It's just super fun. Side two, that's definitely 4 tracks. It's definitely where that prog element comes back in heavier. So you have Last Flight of the Vulcan. Sounds like something, Rush would have put out, and it musically kind of carries that theme as well. It's a lot of fun. Easy is a great kind of track that really puts these two elements together. It might sound like so far the way I'm describing it, you have this sort of dichotomy and they don't really mesh well even if they're good on their own. But that's not true. It flows really well, but I think Easy is a track that probably the most successfully out of any song on this album puts those two sounds together in a really satisfying way. I wouldn't necessarily call it progressive funk or fusion or something like that, but it works really, really well. Shaking in My Boots is kind of the outlier on the album. It's a really good track, but it's sort of like that southern blues rock, thinking more kind of some of the more classic rock influences that this band brings out throughout the playing. It's really fun. It's a lot of fun. It doesn't sound like anything else on the album, but it totally works well. And then you finish off with Only Love, which is a great way to finish off. Great way to finish off. I'll show this off again. Only Love is a great way to finish off the album. It leaves you wanting more. This whole album leaves you wanting more in a really good way. It's not, oh, that was too short. It's not nothing like that. It's just a lot of fun. I'll flip it back over, start the journey again. It's just a band I want to hear more of. I was fortunate enough to see them live. They're currently on tour across Canada. Saw them in Victoria at the Victoria Event Center. It was a great show. Made an instant fan, picked up this vinyl, which is currently on my turntable. If you're into colored vinyl, it's sort of a brassy color, brassy gold color, which makes sense. But it's super, super awesome. I think in general, this is just a new band that people should check out. There is a bit of a prog renaissance, pun intended, going on. There's a lot more prog rock going on. I think bands like Crownlands are certainly leading the way. This is one to check out as well, especially for people that might think prog is really stuffy. Not that it's not. A lot of that classic stuff isn't super accessible for folks, but this is one I really think people ought to check out. So check it out. See you guys later.